Ladies and gentlemen, I am Austin Fouts, rugged pro wrestling promoter and superstar, and I am drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody. Want to thank the sponsor today, Reaper Apparel. Want to encourage everybody to break out of the comfort zone, live their best self, which I very much support. They got great apparel, hats, shirts, beanies, hoodies, all that good shit. Be sure when you go on to reaperapparel.com, use the code DRINKIN for 10% off your order. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinkin. Moe's. Big Mo here. Be sure YouTube, all that good shit. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Helps with that pain in the ass YouTube algorithm. We're pretty much most places you can find podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor. Leave a review, leave a rating. Today I have with me Mr. Fouts, man behind Rugged Pro, getting ready to have a pretty big show this weekend down in my old neck of the woods. A little bit south there anyways, but Falls City, Nebraska. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor. I've been wanting to get on the show for a while. I'm glad we could finally make it happen.
Oh yeah, no, I've been looking forward to it. I've unfortunately not been able to make it out to many Rugged Pro show, but as you may have already known, I have had plenty of talent that have gone through Rugged. I've been talking with a bunch of others that I haven't had on yet, and I hear all good things.
That's the way I like it to be, man. That's the whole purpose of Rugged. Wanted to be a positive, exciting place for talent to get work in.
No, yeah, and that's also kind of how I've tried to keep the show a fun, positive place. Keep it just shooting the shit. Kind of, I have my notes in case I get on a rant, but just kind of keep it lighthearted and all that. Keep it a fun place.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah.
That's to say that the sentiment goes both ways as well. I hear a lot of great things about this show as well from all the people that I've seen, the guys that I know that have been on and stuff. So I think this was a match made in heaven, baby.
That's awesome. That means a lot because, there's times where I've had people just flat out blow me off and kind of gets you down in the dumps a little bit, but then to hear that people are sharing the word about the show and saying lots of good stuff, it makes some of that a little more worth going through.
Absolutely, man. I a while back I had my own show, and I definitely understand the feeling. So I try my best, from being in the other side of things. I definitely now can go, okay, like this is how you need to behave. This is how you want to behave for you when you were on there.
Yeah. No, I definitely try to be that way myself with, if I'm wanting other people to respect my time, I try to do that as much as possible with anybody I'm wanting to have on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But man, yeah, this week has been crazy, just getting ready for the show and stuff. This is Rugged's debut out of state. So this is our first time leaving Iowa. We're leaving our little bubble, which is crazy to think because in 2021, obviously, maybe we won't even count that, but just from all the way up to 2021, Rugged Pro had never left Marshalltown. And then, this last year, we started going up to, we worked for Ragbri, we worked for like multiple county fairs, all these other big events and stuff. So like now it's really cool that, now we're coming over to Fall City. We get to work for the Jaycees. as well as Hy-Vee. Like that's really cool. Not too many independent companies get to say that they're like a vendor for a like a national company like Hy-Vee.
That is very true. Not too many independent promotions can definitely say that. And like I mentioned, I have a little bit of history down there in Falls City. My high school used to play the Catholic school down there in pretty much every sport all the time. So I've been down there more times than I can count.
So we're kind of waking up a old high school rivalry.
In a way. But before we get into the card, I have, with all first-time guests, I have a question I like to lead off with. What got you started as a fan, and then what got you started, making the leap into the business? Because everybody's got their own story, and I love hearing it.
Man, I wish my how I became a fan story was cool. But honestly, just I grew up in a family that always watched it. I can't remember a time wrestling wasn't in my life. And like everybody else is like, oh, I remember sitting there and seeing the Undertaker walk through the curtain for the first time. And I don't have that. I don't really have like a first memory of wrestling. I remember like my first Shawn Michaels action figure I got, and I remember that being like. But the thing is, I already loved wrestling. So I don't remember how I fell in love with wrestling. It's just my first memory is just getting that Shawn Michaels action figure, being obsessed because I loved Shawn Michaels.
No, when I got into it, it was a little bit before him, and good Lord, I feel old even saying it. I mean, I turned 40 in July, but some of my earliest memories was seeing guys like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and the high energy they showed coming out there. It might be my dog's playing with the squeaky toys, but also seeing guys like the Road Warriors and the spiked shoulder pads and shit. I remember first time I ever got to see them live was at a Monday Night Raw taping here in Omaha. And like the two people that have ever made me do this, where I was on my feet from the moment their music hit to the moment they went back, because I was just so hyped seeing them. The Road Warriors and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I saw them both at that show. Moment their music hit, oh my God.
So I was a lot of people make fun of me because I'm only 25. So me growing up, my Road Warriors growing up was LOD 2000.
Yeah.
Which is so messed up when I think back, especially with the storylines they ran with Hawk. That so somewhere I have to find it because it's the funniest thing ever. In my pre-kindergarten, that transitional kindergarten, my what do you want to be when you grow up? Is I said I want to be a wrestler, but wear a muscle shirt and jeans like Hawk. Little did I know that it was oh yeah, they're making fun of his alcoholism and so that is forever, and everybody from my pre-K class has that a nice book that says I essentially just want to be an alcoholic.
Yeah, no, they had some wild stories with those guys, but man.
Yeah, because I could go on for days because Hawk was my favorite, but in my later years, Road Warrior Animal and I almost got into a fight. I have shoot heat with Road Warrior Animal because I called out for being a pet, like a pedophile.
Oh,
it was a whole thing, man. He talked about me on his podcast and everything. It was great.
Interesting.
That's a whole story. The whole story in its own.
You know what? Maybe another time we'll have you on and we'll go over that, because you got me curious on that one.
There we go. Make sure you guys tune in the next time I'm on.
Definitely. You're definitely welcome back at any time. But what made you want to get into the business after being a fan for as long as you have? Because everybody when starting being a fan, everybody has their story. Some people can remember the moment that they're that's what I want to do. Or for some, it's just always been from kindergarten with that book on that.
Yep.
It's just always been that thing.
So for me, it was like, I think I was like 14 for a school project. It was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, of course, a wrestler. So I just looked up like local wrestling college and just happened like through happenstance, like professional wrestling college, it showed up like the 3X wrestling website.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, cool. So like, here's this. So I started just kind of looking around and I found like Impact Pro Wrestling and all that. And like, I thought I was too small. And at the time I was like 5'8" and like, I was like 190 pounds. I was pretty big. Like I was decent sized, but I still thought that was too small. So I was like, well, you know what? Like these guys, their product doesn't look like how it looks on TV. So I'm going to tell them what they need to do. So I just like started reaching out to these companies, being like, hey, you know, if you guys got cameras like WWE, your product looks so much better. Like, just being like a dumbass 14-year-old kid. So like through that process, I was like, at this point, I'm 17 and I have the same mindset. I'm like, these guys are dumbasses. Why do they not just make their stuff better? It's not that hard. Like not like without taking like the mindset of, because in my head, I'm thinking these guys are making like WWE money. Like if you can afford it, why can't they? So so like, I'm just an idiot. Like I don't understand money. I'm just a dumb kid. So I get a hold of Troy Peterson with Impact Pro Wrestling. Same thing. Hey man, your product's like, here's how your product could be like 10 times better. And he's like, man, those are great ideas. Why don't you come up to the show? At this point, I actually had a slightly better like mindset on it and like a little more realistic. So I told him, I'm like, hey, he's like, hey, come up to the show. The thing is, Troy never told anybody else at the show I was coming. So I just come waltzing in. Like I just walk into their training and just like 20 dudes just look back at me and yell, get out. So I'm like, ah. So I like scamper out like a little bitch, go buy well, I didn't need to, all that other good stuff. And the night, Travis Shillington comes up to me. He's like, hey, you're the kid Troy told me about. I forgot you were coming. Oh, awesome, man. So I sat down and talked to Travis. Honestly, Travis Shillington with Impact Pro Wrestling is probably one of the coolest dudes in the world. Short and sweet. They didn't give a shit about what I had to say about my production or anything. All I was offered was, hey, if you come back next week with $250, you can wrestle. And I was like, dude. So, because like in my head, you know what I mean? Like, and to me, you know, a young, dumb kid, like that's like the unheard of. So I was like, holy shit, like little old me gets to wrestle.
Yeah.
Went home, came up with the money. We came back, we started training, and you know, I started paying my $250 every month, and the rest is history. So Impact Pro Wrestling is who we have to blame for Austin Fouts being a thing.
You know, and it's kind of funny how you found them was kind of the same way I found the first promotions that I got introduced to independent wrestling with when I was stationed down in San Diego. There was, well, New Wave, which not Indiana, but there was a New Wave down in San Diego that I've actually had both of the people that were the promoters there on. And there was a promotion that kind of helped them out here and there called SoCal Pro, which coincidentally was where I ended up meeting Jason Strife, where he was doing some of his spot stuff down there, the Magnum showcases they would do. And I talked to him after one of them. He was like, oh yeah, I have blah, 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 Magnum up there. And when I got back, I came and to some of the shows, and well, here I am now.
Man, he's that. I know you. I know that was just kind of like a little hiccup there, but I do want to mention, man, Jason Strife is probably one of the most influential people in my career. Which is funny because we didn't even like talk to each other till after I stopped wrestling full time and became more of a promoter, which is sort of really funny to think about. My first interaction with Jason Strife, and okay, so I know this is going to get clipped by somebody, they're gonna like try to cancel me for being an asshole speaking ill of the dead. Like Jason Strife was a fucking dick, but he's my best friend. Like I have to say that really fast, like in there, so they can't clip it out right away. And what I mean by that is Jason Strife was a dick, but he's also my best friend, one of my best friends. So when I first ever got a hold of him, I was like 6 months in the business. He posted on Facebook this like super vague post. He just posted pictures of the gear, said they're for sale, message me. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I want to buy this gear, guy. Like, and he goes, okay, this is how much it is. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What size is it? He's like, that doesn't matter. Like, and he like said it doesn't matter. Then he messages me, says what it actually is. And I'm like, shit, man, like I'm a bigger boy. It's not going to fit me. He's like, oh, thanks for wasting my fucking time, kid. He was just being Strife.
No, I've had some similar interactions with them, but when it came down to it, I always knew that like if I felt like I had been taken the wrong way, I could always clear the air and then boom, it was good.
Right. But so like fast forward, so like from there until the very first rugged show that was supposed to happen, I thought he hated me. I blew it with Superstar Strife. Then so the first rugged show was supposed to happen on January 26, 2019, and we had to cancel because like all these problems with the building, all this other stuff. Well, like before, like I went into detail on what the actual problems were. Strife was actually willing to front the money for the show and put on the show, which is the unheard of. Like I cannot single other person in the world who would do that for some idiot kid in Iowa who's like shouldn't have been promoting shows and just pulled something out of his butt. But yeah, he's like, hey, let the building know that we can still do it. Like it's on. And then I explained the actual in detail reason, because he thought it was just I'm a dumb kid and I blew all the money. He was gonna save the day. But once he realized it, he goes, oh, of course, obviously we can't. And then from there on out, just period, he was just always giving ideas on things. And then by the end of it, towards the end of his life, we talked almost daily. We helped out. I did like the ring rentals for when they did shows in Iowa. I helped with all that other stuff. And like we talked every day. He was helping with creative, all that stuff. Luckily I was fortunate enough to go to his home and see him, in the last weeks, which meant the world to me. And because how much of an impact on me. So like you mentioned that, and I was like, I definitely want to give him his moment to shine. Jason Strife is a dick, but he was also one of my best friends.
No, and he was definitely one of those that could be taken as one, but then when you look, he definitely had his standards for his show, and come hell or high water, he wasn't gonna compromise his damn standards for his show. Right. And hey, you can't blame him there.
Yep, he's somebody, and it's something he taught me, and it's something that I really struggled with at first. So this is, and a lot of people don't like this this opinion. It is, pro wrestling is not for everyone. Pro wrestling fandom is, right? Everybody can be a fan of pro wrestling. Everybody's welcome to be a fan of pro wrestling, but actually being a professional wrestler, being in the business, that's not for everyone. And that's something that I really have started to take to heart. And like at first, it's not being like, hey, we're going to exclude people. It's just that people need to be able to get up to that level. It's not that we're back and pushing them out. It's that if they can't get up there, hey, that's why it's called professional wrestling.
Very, very true. And there's, in that aspect, there's also people might not be able to be in the active in-ring part of it, but there's all sorts of roles you can play in helping the show go on.
Absolutely.
That you can also get into, that if the active in-ring part isn't for you, physically or whatever, there's other roles you can fulfill.
Absolutely. And it's just like football, I'm not necessarily the biggest football guy. I see the Green Bay hat on, right? Like, let's, do we feel like we could, start as a linebacker next week? Well, next year.
Wish.
But you know what I mean? So guess what? We're fans, right? We just enjoy it. That's something that I think a lot of people, that's something that because I was the same way. I'm like, when you say that, it feels like you're excluding people. It's
Yeah.
not. It's saying, hey, this is open to whoever wants to try, but only a few are going to actually make, succeed in front. And that's something that I really is. That's something that I think I definitely contribute to success of Rugged Pro Wrestling over this past year too. Is Jason's Trice words on that?
Oh yeah, nope. He definitely had that, and he had that, and he definitely brought that mindset into me. That like, I definitely came to the realization that maybe active in ring wouldn't be my way to be a part of the business because of, well, I hurt my back in the military, so it's like that probably wouldn't be the best for me. But there's definitely other ways, and ways that I can get back to the business and all that I can get into. And now that we've gotten all that, this weekend, like you mentioned, we got a big show. First time out of the state of Iowa, Falls City, Nebraska. We got, one match in particular that, that I was kind of interested in because, I have friends on one side. It's the 6-man tag. We got Angus Kaiser, and we got two, I believe they're teachers down there in Falls City.
Yep. Mr. Craft.
Oh, going up against Brandon Juarez, Tim Boston, and Mac. Big Mac. Huge dude. And me being a fan of tag team wrestling that I am, even going into trios or 6-man, this one, I'm intrigued.
Absolutely, man. You look at it from both sides, right? So you look at it on one side, I kind of got to show these teachers, welcome to the business. So I had to throw them in there with some hard hitters like, Big Mac, Tim Boston, especially Brandon Juarez. That's a scary dude, man. I've been in the ring with him a couple times, and every time I never left the same. I always left beat up, battered, and bruised, man. But thing though, we didn't necessarily just throw these guys to the wolves. We're giving them the 450-pound Angus.
He's a big, as Rick Ross said with Keith Lee, he's a big motherfucker.
Absolutely, dude. Angus Kaiser, one of the first graduates of the Rugged Pro Wrestling Training Academy. This guy, man, he's like a fine wine. He looks like he's like 80 years old. He's actually only 30. He's got the same problem as me. But he's man, this guy, he's a hard hitter, and I'm really excited to see what happens when he gets let loose on those guys. And then especially when he's going to have because with having those teachers on his team as well, he's going to have the whole town behind him because everybody wants to see these teachers overcome it. But I know for a fact Brandon Juarez loves to spoil the party.
He definitely known a bit of a hard hitter, a guy that can dish out and be in some pretty crazy matches. I was there front row when he, as of right now, was the last Magnum show that they did where he went up against Bo Gott in a no-rope barbed wire match. That was pretty insane. And, Juarez, he's like a brother to me. Introduced me to my wife, and I actually made him the best man at my wedding. So I got ties in with, with that side of the match.
Man, I'm sorry. I think your boy is going to, I don't, man, I'm nervous because like I said, there is the inexperience factor when it comes to those teachers. Like Angus Kaiser, man, he's been traveling all over. This guy's been in Wisconsin. He's been going over to Nebraska. He's going to Minnesota. This guy's been going to Tennessee this past year, everywhere. This guy's going everywhere. He's been gaining the knowledge fast. He's been learning from a lot of great minds. But you have two liabilities in your corner, right? Angus Kaiser, out my mind, he could walk into this match on his own. And now you're adding in these two other guys. It almost hurts his chance. It's almost a handicap having partners for Angus.
No, definitely. And I mean, you bring up that he's some of the places he's traveled to. I've been at some of his matches, here in Omaha for PWP, down in Benson, and you talk about hard hitters. He can dish it out with the best of them.
Absolutely, man. And he's got my seal of approval. And I know that. But what I will say, though, is at the end of the day, no matter, it's not going to be pretty, but this is damn sure going to be an entertaining match.
Oh, I can guarantee that just from the looks of it. Next one, and I've actually ran into Myron Reed in a couple different occasions. Got invited down to Warrior Wrestling in St. Louis, and I was actually at not the last Revolver show in Des Moines, but the Tales from the Ring one.
Okay.
And got to run into him there. But he's going up against Lord Fork Daddy himself, Kit Sackett. He's that one's going to be a good one, and it's for the Rugged Heritage title. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely correct. And that's something that when Myron first came in to work Zeke Dynamics for that title, of course, everybody says, I don't mean to, I don't want to split any walls or anything like that, but the thought process going into that is, hey, Myron Reed, he's a big name guy. He's not going to stick around here.
Yeah.
They'll do what they got to do. Myron Reed's going on. This is going to be his second defense with the Heritage Championship. Myron Reed's around to stay. He is a part of the Rugged Pro Wrestling roster. Myron Reed is a good friend of mine. We talk very frequently. I am honored to have him be a part of the team and a part of the family. So if anybody's thinking that, this could be some big, cool homecoming for Kit Sackett, I'm sorry to tell you, but Myron Reed ain't letting go of that title anytime soon, baby.
No, he definitely is not one that you can take lightly.
Absolutely.
For trying to find a good way to put it.
Kit Sackett's kind of an underground, he's somebody who I think is still on the rise. Somebody who I think has the potential to be at the level of Myron Reed. Time will tell. And I think that's his advantage going into this. Myron Reed's expecting, he's been going up against these big guys, and now he's in here going with Kit Sackett, an underground hero, if you will. And he's somebody who I think is going to rise to the occasion. And if he brings his A game, I'll have to eat my words on what I just said about Myron Reed not going anywhere.
No, that neither one of them can you really take lightly. Myron Reed, doing all the big things he's doing, especially with MLW there, and doing the things he's doing with the Heritage Championship. But Kit Sackett, like you said, on the rise. He is, doing things here in Omaha, being the current Magnum Top Gun champion, and both doing big things on their own, going up against each other. It's gonna be a good one.
Absolutely. That's something too, when you go back and you look through the entire card, honestly. There's some matches we haven't announced yet that I will be talking about on here. And then a couple that will still be to come. But every match on this card, when you look at it, sometimes you can go to a show and it's kind of like, okay, I know what you can almost pre-fill it out. I look at this card, man, and I just go, yikes. Like I don't know.
No, and those are the good ones. The ones where it's like, any one of these could go either way.
Right. And that's something that I really take pride in with our shows as well, is that we're able to keep kind of that magic still alive. Because the best part about it too is, like, of course I'm working for the crowd, and like who I'm trying to impress is the people paying for a ticket. But it's really cool in the back too, and I have the boys coming up going like, "Holy shit, dude! I didn't know that." Like,
no, yeah, and
guys back even are like that, like impressed me.
Oh yeah, no, I can only imagine, and being able to, as I've heard it put before, being able to suspend the crowd's belief in, like, people. A lot of people go in knowing. I hate using the term fake. I prefer the term predetermined when it comes to professional wrestling, because there ain't any way of faking a lot of the damage that those guys taking that ring. But, you know, people going in with that knowledge, but being able to suspend their belief in that and be like, ugh, you know, I thought that going in, but I don't know about that.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. And that's something too. I'm not sure how many more matches that we've actually released yet that you have on your notes. Are we running out of them for ones you have?
I have two more, but with a post that one of the guys made, we were talking a little bit before, not looking like that one's gonna happen. At least in the form that it is on that's been advertised up to now.
So for this first one here, we're going to talk about the ladder match for the Rugged Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. At the time of this release, you guys already will know that Lars Metzger's out, baby. You know, he's hurt. He's not feeling too good. He's out. He's not cleared to be at the show. Stepping in, the new match, new big main event, is we have, you know, a little Guns and Beer feud. We have Duke Cornell stepping in the ring with Joey Anderson in a ladder match for the Tigerweight Championship.
Ooh.
So here's the thing, man. All I'm gonna say is I get a hold of Joey to see if he's available. And he asked, the only thing he said, yeah, man, I'm in. The only thing I need to know is how crazy can I get? And I said, there's no limit, brother. So, hey, all I'm going to say, I think that's all you need to know. If you know Joey Anderson, if he asks that question and he gets told, hey, there's no cap, there's no cap on how crazy we can get, you know just right by that. That should make people buy their tickets. This is one I'm really, really excited about. Both individuals in this match are some of my favorite people in the wrestling business. I'm excited to see the carnage that they bring. You look at it from way one, Joey, you know, Duke Cornell, he was preparing for the heavyweight champion. He was preparing for Lars Metzger. He wasn't expecting this blast from the past.
Yeah. No, and, you know, knowing the both of them like I do, like, hell, I was at Joey's wedding. Like, I was one of the few, like, non-wrestlers outside of their families that was there. Like, I know them. I know Duke very well. I was there when him and the now retired Cousin Gator won the AIWF tag titles up in, I believe it was Minnesota where they technically won them. But I was there. So, like, I've been there for a lot of both theirs. I know them both very well. That one, the term that comes to mind, good old JR, slobber knocker, that one is going to be like the dictionary definition of that.
So this could be a blessing. It could be a curse. You know, rumor on the street, Duke Cornell just had that big surgery on his eye. He's saying he doesn't need the eye patch anymore. So there's two ways we could talk about this. There's one, hey, he has a freshly worked on eye going into this match. And I think we know Joey Anderson has no problem. The old Joey Anderson, I should say, has no problem going after that eye. The other side, Duke Cornell just got depth perception, baby.
That is true. You know, Duke Cornell.
That's something. Can you imagine, you know, wrestling for this long, not being able to tell how far away something is? That's something that I think that alone just makes Duke Cornell one of the GOATs of professional wrestling.
Oh, totally. I've felt for a long time that dude needs to be signed somewhere. And, you know, if people here in the Midwest, we all know, you know, what that guy's capable of when with only one good eye, now having two.
Absolutely. It's going to be a messy one. That's all I know. We got the ring trailer loaded up. We had to go back and make some adjustments now that we know it was Joseph going to be there and not Lars. We had to add some boys. So we're looking forward to it.
Oh, I can imagine. The other one, I don't know if we've got a replacement as of yet, but
As of recording, we don't. But if we do, it'll be posted on the Drinking with Mo's page. So that will be, guys, keep your eyes out on the page so you can see that big announcement. But
definitely.
right now, it is unfortunate to, you've already seen on Facebook by this point, Fuego del Sol hurt his foot at a show in California. Therefore, he will be unable to compete Saturday, February 25th in Falls City, Nebraska. But he will still be there holding his seminar, passing on all the great knowledge to all the independent wrestlers that want to learn from him. And as well, he will be doing a meet and greet. He will still be in attendance. He's still going to be drinking in the show, getting to know Rugged Pro, becoming part of the family, and as well, we'll be speaking to the crowd on the event. Well, as we know, we will let you guys know. Hopefully, by the time you see this, Mo's already posted it. Hopefully, we'll already see who Justin Fowler's new opponent is going to be going into that. This was supposed to be one of the first big stops on Justin Fowler's, Big Match Buns tour. It's super unfortunate that's happened. Fuego let us know immediately when he found out. He has been tremendous about everything. He felt terrible about the entire, the entire thing. And he is, all I'll say is he's making right on the deal. So, I can't speak any higher of Fuego del Sol. We're excited to see, hopefully by now you guys will understand why I'm excited, because it's going to be something crazy. I don't know what it is yet, but by the time you see this, hopefully we'll know the new big crazy thing going on.
Oh yeah. And knowing Fowler the way I do, he can have a good match with just about anybody.
Absolutely correct. And that is something too that I think is a very special characteristic of Fowler. It's the reason why we're putting him on the Big Match Buns tour, because he can do it. You know what I mean? There's a excuse me. There's something that I think, this is a conversation I've had with him. This is me saying it, not him.
Yeah.
In light of recent events, he now has the burden to carry of the best wrestler in the area.
No, that I spoke with him the night of the visitation. He was coming in right as I was getting done there. So we had a nice little talk. It was shortly after I actually went to my first game up at Lambeau. So, I have full confidence whoever is going to be the replacement for this match, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no matter who it is, it could be Kenny Omega, it could be a broomstick, it could be a sex doll. It doesn't matter. Justin Fowler's going to put on the match of the night, and that's just because he's that damn good.
Oh yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding. You can go back to our last event where Justin worked against Myron Reed, put on a killer match. You can go back to our Oktoberfest event where he put on a killer match with Tyler Jones. You can go back to the Ankeny event where he worked Mike Bennett, killer match. No matter who it is, it's going to be match of the night. And whoever is in that spot, I know is absolutely going to tear the house down with him. And hopefully by now, you guys know the name, and you guys are going, wow, this is going to be great.
Oh yeah, nope. I definitely look forward to hearing about this one. Now, we've gone over the matches that I had on my notes. Do we have anything else that hasn't been put out there that you can put out right now?
So here we'll talk about a couple of them, right? I got two of them we can talk about still. Right now, we're going to talk about one that by the time this is out will be announced. We're talking Brixton Nash. All right? He's making his return to Rugged Pro against a very familiar face in his world, as he is going to step in the ring with Jameson McGregor.
Oh boy, a hoss fight on our hands.
And this one is going to be good because I'm a jerk. So I made sure to put there's a lot of extra money in the winner's purse on this one because I wanted to make sure they both tore each other apart.
That's gonna be killer. Like, I've actually had both of them on, being they're both in a tag team and a lot of promotions around. I've had them both on at the same time before a show here in Omaha. Dude, they're a good enough team. I can only imagine when they face off against each other that's going to be something to see.
Right, this is a little bit of payback for me because at the Ankeny event for Magnum Pro Wrestling, I and my partner Tyler Jones, we competed against them and lose for the tag team titles. So now, me being a petty promoter, I'm going to make them fight. Try to see if I can ruffle some feathers in there. I'm really excited to see it though. Jameson, he's been a staple of Rugged Pro Wrestling. He's been on almost every single event since we started using him. And I can't ask for somebody to be, to deliver a more consistent, constant work rate as he does. And then he keeps begging me to bring in Brixton. So I said, whatever. I'm kidding. I love Brixton. Both guys have been able to come down and hang out at the Forge, my training academy down here, and just kind of roll around and show some of the other kids what's up. So I'm really excited to see this match. Another big one I'm excited to talk about is we have, okay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the cat. Are you familiar with the Matt Diesel out of Louisville?
You know what? I don't know if I am.
Good. That's what I wanted. Right? So I have two guys here that I view as probably two of the most underrated, underappreciated talents in the entire country. I have Matt Diesel going up against Seto Kabara.
Ooh, I know Seto. He can.
It bothers me that he has not been a top guy. This guy, I'm telling you, man, he is a boat that people are missing. He's somebody that we are currently, hopefully setting up for some success. But he's got to earn it. And we're going to put him up against one of the most badass dudes I've had the pleasure of meeting over the last year in Matt Diesel. And I think that this is one of those matches, man. Again, nobody's going to know which way it's going to go. But I think it has a great chance of being number two only behind Fowler because nobody's going to be able to touch that guy.
Okay. No, I mean, I always love getting introduced to new stuff. One promotion that I've become pretty good friends with, Warrior Wrestling out of Chicago. They're always introducing at least a handful of new people here and there. And you got at least one here that might not be so familiar with, but, coming in at a recommendation of you, I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty damn solid.
Absolutely. There's two other matches that will be announced at a later time. There are matches featuring Rugged Pro Wrestling Training Academy students. But right now they're earning their spots, guys. This is something that I'm big on. Just because you paid your money doesn't mean you get it. Doesn't mean you get to be on the show, right? Everybody has to spot. So we are piecing together these final pieces. I just know that some of these kids that we got, some of these kids are going to be showing up this weekend. They're going to be on your TVs a lot faster than you think.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love to hear it, and I look forward to, when those matches get announced. Well, I take it that's about all we have for as far as that show goes.
Absolutely. So everybody just remember how cool it was when you saw that announcement on who the person is that Justin Fowler is wrestling, because you guys know right now and we don't. So that's awesome.
It's going to be good. Well, that is about all I have for tonight. But one category that I want to do that I do with most shows, I do a bit of a random question category where, some might be wrestling related, some might not be. You answer how you see fit.
Absolutely.
First one, craziest in-match moment.
Oh, goodness. So is this for like anybody or for myself?
It can either be one that was in a match you were involved in or one that you were there to witness.
So, okay. So I'm trying to think, and it sucks that they're both bad. So one of the craziest things ever for me was it's not even crazy in a cool way. It's crazy like kind of a sad way. When I was just getting started, I got into I'm not going to say the promotion I was wrestling for because everybody already knows they suck. But so I was wrestling this piece of shit who no longer wrestles anymore. And this guy, he'd been wrestling, I think, for like 20 years. And I'd been wrestling for like, this was my third match. I had gotten a car accident. Hey, like, so I got sideswiped by a semi. I shouldn't have been wrestling. And they're like, yeah, man, you're good. Hadn't gone to a doctor's office or anything to get checked out. They're just like, yeah, you should be fine. And anyways, so I definitely like, and this is where it's kind of my fault. So like, he stiffed me pretty good, and I got knocked a little loopy. I'm pretty sure I think I had a concussion before. I just didn't notice it. Like, you know what I mean? So I messed up a spot, and he stiffed me really hard. And then I messed up again. So he punched me like 4 times right in the face. And at this point, I'm like just out of it. So I'm like, let's just go the fuck home. So for me, it was crazy because, like, and here's why. I know it's not really crazy to anybody else, but it's crazy to me because it was my first time experiencing that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in this place where, like, because to my eyes, I was explained that, like, pro wrestling, it's a brotherhood, it's a bond. You don't do. So, like, it was kind of like my wake up call. So it was crazy to me then because I was like, holy shit, this is the business. Like, this is what I thought. But it was cool. Like, it was cool. They did make right, like, in a way. They gave me his payday at the end of the night. So like that part was kind of cool.
Okay.
It wasn't even that crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really fucking boring in the ring. So, like, not a lot of cool, crazy shit happens when I wrestle.
Oh man,
like beat up by a vet.
I mean, I've witnessed my fair share of crazy ones. One involving one of the guys on the card, Brandon Juarez, going in the match as Donnie Pepper Cricket. It was in one of Magnum Wrestling's Piggy in the Bank matches. They had the ladder bridged between the ring apron and the guardrail. I forget who he had on his back, but it's a move I've only seen a few times. I can't remember the name of it, but he had the guy on his back, and I'm on the other side of the ring, and all of a sudden I see him look down. I'm like, oh God, no. Jumps off, ladder folds into a V, and I'm like, oh shit. And the other one that pops into my head was when at the Tales from the Ring show, I got to see my first ever, what I call a legit death match, and not one like a lot of places put on death matches, and it's like a hardcore match masquerading as a death match. This one was Jake Christ versus Joel Bateman, and literally it was crazy enough from the start because the match before it was a monster's ball. They were cleaning up, thumbtacks all over. Jake Christ all of a sudden just bum rushes in there. It's like, fuck that, leave this shit, let's go. And they have the match, and it ends by them taking 4 folding chairs, bridging 2 panes of glass, and then Bobby Olson, who I'm actually his manager, who I'm actually going to be having on the show. All of a sudden, I see him roll into the ring and pulls out a thing of lighter fluid and lights the glass on fire.
I have not had any fun experiences with fire yet. I've done the like the superplex into like the bed of chairs and all that stuff, like where like they set them all up and make like that was pretty cool. Maddie Starr gave me that. I've been like power bombed through like wooden ladders and stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie, man, I'm kind of a fucking pussy. So like you won't find me doing too much crazy stuff. We did like I'm not gonna spill too many beans and like get me like blacklisted, but I did like a I don't even want to say a custom match, but I did like a private show. And yeah, like that was cool. I got to like bleed pretty crazy for that. It fucking sucked though, because I got like beat up with like it was just a bunch of my like buddies that I was wrestling with just beat the shit out of me with like beat the shit out of me for fucking. I was well. All that matters, right?
Oh yeah. Next question: favorite drink, alcoholic, non, or even one of both, if you want.
Dude, I'm a pussy, so I just like root beer. I'm a root beer connoisseur. Like I'll go around like anywhere I can go and try to find different root beers to try.
Hey,
I actually don't drink anymore, which kind of sucks. Like I feel like I'm like disrespecting the show.
hey, I've always said, because I've had people on that don't drink, I always say, just because it says drinking at most doesn't mean that drink has to be alcoholic.
Yeah, it's probably either going to be a root beer or a Mountain Dew ski for me. Um, but yeah, so here's the thing. I don't necessarily, what I would say is like, so if I was with you right now, I would definitely sit down and have it. There's not like it's not like that. It's
Yeah.
just one that I'm like, hey, you know what? I used to have an issue with it. It's under control now. So now I just don't drink unless there's a reason.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely more of a social drinker myself. I don't tend to drink too much by myself, although I did have one here, but that's those are few and far between when I'm drinking by myself. But my wife says I have a bit of a Dr. Pepper problem. I always joke,
Uh,
I don't have a problem. I have it figured out. The only problem I has is when I don't have any.
I definitely feel that, man.
Dog or cat person? Because I got two dogs that are acting crazy right now.
I'm a dog guy. Like I like the simplicity of cats, but I like the attention and like the return from like a dog.
That that I do like. My when I met my wife, she had cats. Now we got three cats and two dogs. We got an English bulldog that's one in right now, and we got a Great Dane puppy that's making more of the noise than our English bulldog here. But I love them. I love them both to death.
Good deal, man. Yeah, I do prefer the dogs, man. Right now, I currently don't have any. I have 4 kids though, so that's enough pets for me.
No, that's a house full.
Yeah.
Next thing, favorite movie.
Favorite movie? Okay, shit. Um, so if we're gonna like go and be like really lame, I'm probably gonna go. I'm gonna be really. I'm gonna say like Bad Boys.
Okay. The
I like.
first or the second one? Or there's been what, three of them now?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bad. Oh shit! I'm gonna get like fought over this. I'm gonna say Bad Boys 2 just for sake, just so we can. Nobody steal all.
It's a good one. It's a good one. For
It really is.
me,
Like
oh,
I have a really weird taste in movies too. So like I like a lot of like you know what I mean. I think that was like a loaded question for me. I don't think I have like an actual favorite. That was like if I had to pick one. There you go.
no, I totally understand you. I know that would be a hard one for me to really nail down. I know two off the top of my head. Forrest Gump. I love that movie. I joke around that I've actually been to the Bubba Gump restaurants. I've been to a handful of them.
Yep.
They ask you trivia questions about the movie. I can answer their questions before they're done asking them.
So I've only been. I wanted to go to the one when I was in Daytona Beach. I
Hmm.
wasn't able to go, but I did go to the one in the Mall of America.
I've been to one in Hawaii, been to one in Chicago on Navy Pier, and then one in Long Beach.
Cool. Very cool.
My other favorite one, and some people try to argue with me about it. I love the original Ninja Turtles movies, the original three, but my
Yes.
absolute favorite is the second one, Secret of the Ooze.
Oh yeah.
Favorite one out of all the first three.
I definitely think the third one sucked ass. So like,
Out of the three, that was definitely bottom of it. Yeah.
okay, that's a better way to put it, right? It's like the other two were just so high up that just by comparison.
Yeah. No, yeah. No. It's definitely, yeah, hard to live up to those two. But me, that's the second one, then the first one. For me, that second one is one of those few sequels that kind of, at least for me, surpasses the original.
I would disagree with you. I think I think that's a very valid point, and I'll probably not even go as far to agree.
Oh yeah, I even have a little growing Ninja Turtle figure collection. I got a big old special with 30th anniversary Super Shredder that I'm like, that's my centerpiece of it all.
So I'm like, okay, this like people make fun of me because so like normal people have other interests, right? Like I like wrestling, I like football. Dude, I'm a loser. I like wrestling. Like, I don't have time outside of like anything. Okay, maybe like an argument can be made. The closest thing to a hobby I have outside of wrestling is like the MCU and like like superhero movies.
Yeah,
Like the closest thing that you can even like make a slight argument for. Um, yeah, because I'm definitely like if it's not wrestling, I don't want it. So like for example, somewhere I have the Ninja Turtles when they did like the WWE crossover line where you can get. So I have like a few of those. But like other than that, and I kind of like the Ninja Turtles as a kid, but I'm like, I'm not gonna buy Ninja Turtles. But then I was like, I have to buy Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, no, out of my figure collection, it's mostly wrestling. I mean, I do, as far as those Funkos go, I do have a whole mess of the MCU line.
Cool.
But last but not least, as far as questions, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
My advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling is take the time to figure out where you're actually going to go to get into wrestling. There's a lot of people that'll take your money. There's not a lot of people that are truly going to invest in you. Something that the Forge and this isn't like a plug for my school. It's just something that my experiences in wrestling, I wanted to make sure that I had a place to where these kids could come and it's not just like a one and done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, your 15 weeks are up. See you later, kid. I take outside of practice, I'm investing in them, trying to make sure that they're all right, make sure they're ready to go. I'm not saying come to my school. I'm saying find a place that is like that to where you are going to get one-on-one attention. People are going to make sure that your needs are met. But on the other side of that too, find a place that's flexible, but don't use it as a crutch.
Yeah.
Like it's a real fine line that people dance with. You want to go somewhere that's going to be understanding with you, but you also don't want to be that guy who's like, my biggest people suck at throwing punches, so they just like, we'll just throw forearms.
No, and
small little thing, but don't let people give you crutches.
Oh yeah, no, and that's very, very good advice because one, it's not like hell when I was growing up in like high school and even into college before the Navy, where like wrestling schools seemed a little few and far between. Like they're definitely more spaced out. And now, pretty much, if you really look, any part of the country that you live in, there are reputable schools in just about every area of the country if you really go looking.
There is, and even worse, but here's like the thing that's like the key word you said there was reputable. There's probably a school within instance of anybody.
Yeah.
There's somebody who will take your money and make you a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of guys fall into the habit of, and then they go out to try to get booked, and they get told, well, like, you trained there, like you're not a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Which, hey, dude, that's something that, like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you should have taken the time to just like in anything, man, there's gonna be con artists out there trying to just rip you off. For a great example of that, man, is so like, hey, I never wanted anything to do with in-ring training. I never wanted to touch it. I never wanted to help somebody throw a punch. Our first trainer didn't work out. We had to get rid of him. The second trainer, he unfortunately, the person that we were in talks with to do it, unfortunately, he passed away, if you can draw those lines. And then now going into our third class, we locked in Justin Fowler. Again, who, as of, and I'll say it, and if anybody don't take it out on him, it's me saying it. As of if you ask me today on February 22nd, who the best current wrestler in the area is, it's Justin Fowler. You can't.
No, yeah,
But
there's no really arguing that one. Good Lord, he's blowing up all over the place.
Yeah, that's not a knock on anybody else. It's just the simple fact of, body check, ring ability check, mic skills, looks, just the whole 9 yards. Maybe not mic skills, but he's working on that. I'll give him. I'm kidding. Just from an all around standpoint, Justin Fowler's the guy.
Yeah,
nobody can take that away from him. So we are honored to have him be a part of our school. With classes starting up here soon, it's going to be a whole different breed, man. Justin is definitely somebody who abides by Fowler's mindset of pro wrestling is not for everyone. Fandom is. So he's being transparent going into this. Hey, if we get one student out of this class, we succeeded.
And there are schools that have been like that. Like, one in particular, ECW's school, that was kind of their mindset that you hear about how I think Taz was one of the main guys, and then Paul Heyman would even say, if we even get one, if we can only get one guy out of it, cool. Just because he knew that those guys would get them ready.
Yeah, and it's something too, like of course, we want every single person in that class, and we're going to do everything that we can to get them there. But it's up to them to keep themselves there. So that's when we say that, we're not saying like, hey, we're going to run them ragged and hopefully everybody quits on the first day so we get their money. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's in the name. We're making professional wrestlers. We're not making, and a lot of guys get confused when I say this. We're not making independent wrestlers. We're making professional wrestlers. Anybody can pay whatever the price is to go to some shit school and say they're a wrestler, but we are making professionals.
Oh no, then that's the good mentality to have, because in the end, when somebody goes out, they graduate and they're getting their name out there, you want them to carrying that name with them. The Rugged Pro name, they're carrying that with them, and you want them to be putting that good impression out there. So when people hear, oh, they came from there, okay, we'll take them.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And that is something that is more important now now more than ever, with as many schools as are around. You really only get, and especially with how many, because what that means is there's an influx of talent. So when you look and these guys are hitting up these promotions, you got to stick out, and you don't the wrong reason. So, if we're putting out trash talent and they're going out putting on trash matches, when they reach out, somebody says, hey, they see, I trained with Rugged Pro Wrestling and they gave us a bad name already, that message is instantly getting deleted. They're not even going to look at it.
Yeah.
That's something too that there's very few guys at Rugged Pro Wrestling. There's two guys actually right now that have my blessing to be taking bookings in their places. And that is Angus Kaiser and Luke Luna. Well, I guess there's three. There's your boy Andy, then there's Luke Luna, and there's the big bad bull Angus Kaiser. There's three talent from Rugged Pro Wrestling that have my blessing to take outside bookings. And they've been, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, man, they're getting signed next week, but they're good talent guys. They're people that I put my name on. I know they can carry a good, simple, good match, put on a good match for your show. And that's something I can take a lot of pride in, because those guys are 100% Austin Fouts. No, yeah.
Luke Luna, I'm very familiar with him. He's definitely got an entertaining character, and I enjoy watching him when I get to.
He's somebody too, I think once, as he's still really new. I mean, when you really break it down in the grand scheme of things, he's somebody too that I think he's less than 40 matches in. He's somebody that I think, as he continues to deal with this, I call it an identity crisis. He doesn't like when I call it that. And he really nails down this character. He's somebody who the sky's the limit for him. The only wish I could have had is I wish he would have started sooner. That's just so he could have even more. Cause I believe he's in his 30s now. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
Yeah,
not everybody was as fortunate to me. I'm only 25, but I still have 8 years in the business already because I started so young. Um, I wish he would have been able to have that longevity that I've been lucky and fortunate enough to have. But absolutely, both those guys are great talent. And if you haven't heard of them, guys, go and check them out.
well, definitely. Well, that is about all I have. Before we go, where can people find you, find Rugged Pro? So if they don't have their eyes there on you and Rugged Pro, they can go ahead and get them there.
So Austin, for myself, for Austin Fouts, it's real simple. It's just pretty much anywhere you want to go, put in the name / real Austin Fouts, and you'll find me. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, I got it. For Rugged Wrestling, it's the same thing. Our big areas where you want to be up for us, our big focus areas are our Facebook and our YouTube. Both those, name / Rugged Wrestling. If you want to go and go subscribe to us on Facebook, we're trying to hit 10K by the end of this year. On Facebook, we just hit our 5,000 mark, and we're gonna, as with our growth going as fast as it is, I think we'll be able to hit 10K pretty easy by December. So help us out, guys. Let's get us there. But where
Definitely.
you can next is, of course, is this Saturday, Fall City, Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
In Fall City, Nebraska, brought to you by the JCs and Hy-Vee, or I think more specifically Dollar Fresh in this instance, one of the subsidiaries of Hy-Vee. But we're really excited to get wrestling to Nebraska in this area. I don't think wrestling's been in the area for 10 plus years. I think Brian Blade ran there a few years ago.
It's been a while.
We're excited to be bringing wrestling back to the area. So we look forward to seeing you guys all this weekend. Thank you.
Definitely. And, best of luck this weekend. Best of luck, Rugged Pro. Get to those milestones. And, well, you're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. This has been a blast.
Definitely been fun.